Hi traders, it's the 1st of May, so my little break is over. I'm going to start creating more videos and putting more articles up on the website. Now this video I wanted to make it short and straight to the point. I get a lot of comments, emails, messages from people that are constantly talking about multiple strategies and multiple indicators and jumping from group to group. You know, I know I've spoken about this in previous videos, but I'd like to make this clear. In order for you to be successful, you need to stop doing that. Okay, so the first thing is such, you know, when we're talking about strategies and the ones that I've created, here on my website, I'm going to continually break down the new videos that I create according to strategy. What I'd like for you to do is understand clearly, walk away from your computer, sit down for a little while, and think about this point that I'm about to make now. Every single strategy works. Okay, if someone's seen something and they've put something together, whether it be using price action, whether it be using just a few moving averages like I trade, or whether you've got like your screen full of indicators, it doesn't matter. The fact is that someone somewhere has seen this and it's worked for them. Okay, and they've put that strategy together, and whether they're selling it, whether they're teaching this in groups, or whether you've just seen it freely on YouTube, like on my channel. Now, I want you to understand, they all work. There's nothing wrong with the strategies itself. This is what I wanted to show you in this video. Now, let's jump on to, this is Euro USD. We're on a hour chart. Now, let me zoom in a little bit. Now, here's the thing. This is what I'd like for you to understand. This was Friday, okay? This blue, the area between the blue and the red boxes, this whole entire area is a 24-hour period, right? This is Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So this is where the week begins. Now, how I'd like for you to look at this is from this point to this point. Understand that market movements can happen at any time. All right, so the market will run through its cycle from Monday to Friday. You've got to, with the benefit of hindsight and experience, go through these videos or even just your own charts. This is what you're spending time doing. Go through your charts and understand what's actually going on within the market cycle. The other thing that I'd like you to understand is what I said earlier, the day begins here, the day finishes here. This is a whole 24-hour cycle, right? You need to understand that market movements can happen at any point within that 24-hour cycle. And so for that reason, when you're asking me a question, hey Shiva, when is the best time to trade this strategy? There isn't a specific time you can trade any strategy, and understand this very clearly. If there was a specific time where you could trade a particular strategy and win every single time, well, one, I'm pretty sure the brokers will get a hold of it and they'll ensure that the proper expiries are not available on their platforms around those times. And two, we'd all be multimillionaires right now, if not billionaires. Okay? Understand that this is not a robot creating all of this, or millions of retail traders that are creating it. Most of, or the bulk of the retail traders are literally just trading in-house within their brokerages, and your broker takes on the other side of it. Okay, there is only a certain amount of retail trading, and that depends on if you're successful or not with your trades over the long term, where your broker, unless they are one of the massive dealers or part and parcel of market makers, what you're going to find is that many of them will just trade in-house, and then if you're a successful trader, you'll be placed into another group where your trades get leveraged into the live market. Those are trades that possibly will have some play when it comes to market movements here. So all we're doing is we're looking to see what the big players in the markets are doing, because all the governments, the massive institutions on the planet, the massive banks on the planet, when they're inter-transacting, what they will need is a go-between, like an escrow service almost, which are the dealers. These guys are the ones that they'll say, okay, I need to convert 100 million US dollars to euro for our factory or our subsidiary in Europe somewhere, and vice versa. So what these guys will do is they will move markets in a way in which there is actually no loss. So understand this, right now, latest figures that I've seen, there's up to 5.3 trillion being transacted throughout a 24-hour period. So understand that there's a crap load of money. Now, yes, we can say it's just the same amount of $5.3 trillion that's being transacted, but if you say over a 24-hour period, and we say then we've got 5 trading days a week, then guys, there's $25 trillion possibly, or $25 trillion worth of transactions going on in the Forex market every single week, right? When these happen can be at any time. So what you're going to have to learn is not what a set of indicators tell you, although people are making good money out there with it, but because if you blindly follow your set of indicators, you're going to lose. You're going to have some losing trades, and people constantly ask me, hey Shiva, it's not possible to have 100% wins. I'm not saying you're not going to have losses. I'm not saying I don't have losses. But the vast majority of my trades always result in 100% in the money simply because I put in the analysis, I put in the time, I ensure that even if something doesn't look entirely right to me, I'm not going to take a gamble. I'm a trader, I'm not a gambler. All right? This is where you need to get your mindset wrapped around as well. The other thing, I want to make this clear as well, and I've said it previously, people don't tend to understand this. If you have studied, say for instance, if you've got a university degree or if you're a tradesperson, it's taken you years for either to qualify to be able to be a part of your vocation, or your trade. You've probably spent 2 or 3 years. There's a guy, a couple of guys, a father and son team that I speak to regularly. These guys are in England, and they're putting in the time in this regard. And the father, he's a mechanic. Both of them mechanics. And I asked him when I did speak to him. I said, mate, how long did it take you to have the combined knowledge that you do now? And you can hear a sound of a car, and you'll know that, hey, this is what it is. And he said I believe he said he's been doing it for over 20, 30 years or so, and he's still learning. So many of you that are jumping onto binary or Forex or Nadex right now, guys, it's not something you're going to pick up in just a month. Although you can learn enough to be able to enact your 2 or 3 perfect trades a day. Okay, you're going to learn enough. But this is a continual process. Things like, where does the day start? What was the high and the low of the previous day? Understanding where the new highs are or higher lows are or lower lows are, things like that. That's all price action. This is what you will need to combine with your indicators to give you the confirmations. You're looking for, and I'll give you a few hints. Right now, you start to look for where the day begins. That's entirely important. Right? The other thing you want to look to see is when the market moves. So in this case, we're on 1 hour chart for Euro USD. When the market moves, or we'll start on Monday, market moves up. Here's at first, this is the new high that market's created. We don't know any of this stuff, right? Just here, that's where the new high the market's created. Now, at this stage, we don't know if the market's going to go up, whether it's going to come down, or whether it's going to go sideways. So what do? We analyze to a point where we can look and know that this is what the market's going to do. If I'm looking at these 3 candles here and we'll say, okay, here's a doji and here's a red candle, this isn't enough for me to say, okay, I'm going to bounce down now because the market's going to come back down. It's not enough. And so for that matter, to me, I know it's not enough and it's not looking familiar, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk away and say, okay, look, I'm going to probably come back in 15 minutes because I want to see what this candle does. All right? Now, in this regard, what I'm looking for is this. Here's the low. Here's the new high that the market created for the day. I'm looking to see where the high of the previous day was. So here's the high of the previous day. Here's the low of the previous day. This candle here, okay, and when Monday opened, there was a bit of a gap, so the market opened lower. So this officially now becomes the low of the day and possibly the week as well. So we wait for this candle to go up, establish a new high, consolidate, comes back down. Now, what I'm waiting for, and this is the way you need to be truly patient about it, is to say, okay, market pushed down, the wick of this did come low, but didn't come anywhere near as low as this. So we now wait to see what this candle does. This candle pushes up, and we're waiting for the close. Closes above, right? This now is the higher low than this, right? So this is the higher low, and this candle has now created a new high as well, okay? Because the wick of this is still lower than the body and the wick of this. So this is a new high. Now, all of a sudden, my mindset will change because now I'm saying, okay, there's a structure being created. This market, to me, looks like it's heading up. Now, still, it's not enough for me to be able to say, okay, I'm going to take some trades off of this. All right? And most brokers won't allow you to take trades anyway around this time. So what we do, we wait for the market to push back up, it creates a new high, and then for about 45, maybe an hour, market pushes down again. Very small candles, tiny bodies with decent sized wicks on the last two. A couple of things that we're looking at. One, the market establishes, this wick here, establishes a new high. And this wick here shows us that the market has established a new higher low. So again, another further confirmation that this market is not coming down. This is going in the waves. Remember, market moves in waves. Now, this candle opens, comes down, hits this part, and then boom, goes up, and it effectively, towards the end of Asian session, creates a new high. Now, I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, okay, this to me looks like on a 1 hour chart, this market's going to head up. Chances are this will possibly continue to happen throughout. So when I'm now enacting a strategy, any one of mine, any one of these strategies here, okay, whether it be my 15-minute reversals where I'm taking a longer term trade, whether it's Forex, whether I'm doing this on Nadex, or whether it's a strategy you've picked up on YouTube, on one of the forums, on a group that you're part of, you're still going to have to apply this knowledge. You need to be able to read the charts and know where the market's going. You don't need to go and do an expensive course on Forex to be able to understand this. It's just looking at it and saying, okay, what's the market doing? Okay, it has this here. It consolidated, pulled down. The body of this, or the wick of this, did come down, create a new higher low. And this is higher than this previous low here. Okay, again, another confirmation. Market pushes back up. This here, notice how the wick of this does not break any of this. So would probably be a little bit wary as to what the market may be doing. But what it is telling me is, well, it's definitely not pushing lower right now because it has just created, by the wick of this, a higher low. You've got to start thinking along those lines. And if you're doing your support and resistance to this as well, you can even jump on your 4 hour charts. Start drawing in where the key points are, the key zones are. Because if you're seeing that, then you'll be able to then justify to yourself where this market is going to most likely move towards. If it's somewhere very close to your support zone, or has hit your support zone and bounced off of it, well, chances are, wherever you've got your resistance line, that's where the market's going to push up to. Okay, so here, this, for whatever reason, I have this line drawn in. This candle comes, hits this line, bounces back up. This is a 4 hour candle. Market then goes up again. Okay, so once this is done, I'm pretty much sure the market is, well, not guaranteed, because you can never be guaranteed, just in case my market decides to spike down. But I'm pretty sure that this market has done its thing down here. It's going to head back up again. So I'm looking for where my resistance points may be to where the market may push to. So I'll jump onto lower time frames, look to see where the market is. Is it creating higher highs or lower lows for me? Because each time what I'm looking for is a sign from the market that it's done its thing. So in this case, this is a higher low than this here. Market pushes up. Now, I'm looking to see what this candle's doing here. Now, if this wick is not higher than this previous high, well, I'll be like, okay, if this is not higher here and market enters consolidation, I will stop trading. Why? Because at this stage, I don't have a sign from the market on whether it's going to push down or whether it's going to push up, right? Although I could apply know-how from where the market cycle must be from this point on. This is midweek as well, so I'd be a little bit wary with this pair at this stage because I'd be expecting at some point that the market would have reached its high of the week in relation to this trend here. So anyway, I'd be wary. I'd wait for a possible high to be created off the top of this before I believe this market's going to continue heading up here. Now in this case, yes, this breaks, right? Market goes up, comes back down again, issues me with a pin bar. When I see a pin bar, it's the market showing me where it's not wanting to go. So here's something else that I will say, okay, This market did break up past this point. This is the new high. This market tried to create a new low. This was the official previous low. This was the previous low before that. So it's a high, this is a higher low to this. And now this has just created a higher low to this point. So I'm thinking, okay, I could now look at a trade going long for Forex. I can look at a possible, because I'm on an hourly chart, I will jump onto a 15-minute chart and look to see if there are any good entry points around here, or possibly even at the bottom of the wick of this, to say, because I'm thinking this market's going to go up. So I'm thinking, okay, can I do that? Can I jump on Nadex and see if I've got at the money or out of the money possible spreads on maybe like a 2-hour binary or something along those lines, okay? Because when you're in the money, you might get a better rate and jump out early, make some decent profit doing Nadex or IG trades that way. So this is what you need to start doing. Please don't jump from strategy to strategy, because again, the setups can happen at any time in that 24-hour period. It's not, you're not going to get the same setup day in, day out. Even with my Euro USD strategy, it works. It works more often than not. Here's the problem with it though. The market's not always going to say, hey, guess what? We're going to go up after the 45-minute mark, just 15 minutes before Frankfurt or London Open. It might do it earlier, it might do it later. On Friday, I believe, it jumped up in the last 10 minutes. You're not always going to know. So what we're doing is we're trying to study candlestick patterns. We're trying to see where the market fits in relation to that whole 24-hour period. You need to be able to study your 24-hour period. This here, now you can jump on a 15-minute chart as well. This is your 24-hour period. Your peaks, your troughs, your valleys, all of that stuff, you're going to have to start to look at and say, okay, this is what the market's doing. This consolidation, this is the low. This is where the day starts on a 15-minute chart. This is for Friday, right? We're getting consolidation. We're getting wicks to the high and wicks to the low. At this point, we got no idea where this market's going. All I know is, at this stage, that this here, this line, is the official high of the previous day. So I'm waiting for the market. If it's going to go up here, see, two wicks to the high. Hits this line, bounces back. I still don't know if the market's going to come back down again. This candle breaks it, closes off above the previous high of the day. What this is showing me now, this market's heading up. All right? Now, again, at this candle, people I think are confused. There's still no guarantee that the market's going to continue heading up. This could be a stop hunt. This could be where the market, it's a false move and pushes back down again. You're not always going to know that, but you're going to start utilizing the information that you're seeing, the information that you're picking up, and something that's constant for you in terms of market maker behavior, the major players in the market, how they respond to whatever's going on. So you're going to also have to start paying attention to, well, if retail traders are doing a particular thing, chances are that the person, the entity, whatever you want to call it, on the other side of that contract. Because trading effectively is just a contract, you know, where there's an offer to buy or sell a product, and someone else takes on the other end of it, so accepts the contract, and the consideration is, in this case, the value amount, the money that we're transacting. Binary options, you do a $500 trade, that $500 is consideration. In Forex, depending on how many contracts you're taking, how many lots, sorry, your margin is your consideration. That sort of stuff. So please be aware that this is what's going on. Your brokers are in it to make money as well. It's not like where they're just saying, hey, you know, you can go play, and if you win, I'm happy to hand you money over. They're running a business as well, and their idea is to say, okay, I'm going to get you, I'm going to have to dangle a carrot in front of you to get you to enter into a trade, because they don't make any money if you don't take a trade. So they're going to do whatever it takes in order to force you to take a trade, right? Now, look at this bit here. This is a low. This is a higher low. This market pushes back down here, and what it does is, I'm having a look to see, and I'm thinking, okay, where is this? This is lower now. This is a new lower low. This is lower than the high that was here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to be a little bit wary, because I'm going to start to think, is this market going to come down now, right? What happens? Market pushes back up. Now, again, if you're seeing a few bursts of big candles going up in a particular direction, chances are that's still part of the false move, so you need to be wary. If you're a forex trader, what you can do is you can say, hey, this is a move away from this joint here. I might look to take a trade in the direction of that trade. And usually what I do is I would want to get in and be out in about 10 to 15 pips, right? In this case, that's 10 pips right there. If I held on, that's about 15 pips right there. Now, if I'm a lifestyle trader that says, I'm going to jump in with about 10 lots with Forex and then jump out at 10 pips, well, that 10 lots in Forex is enough to make me £1,000, right? AUD would be 2,000 Australian dollars. You're in and out, you're done in, how long is this? This is probably about 15 minutes or less. This is a 15-minute candle. So you're in and out and you're done very quickly. If you're looking at the market that way, certainly a lot of people will be like, you know what, I'm going to hold through because I want to make 50 pips or make 100 pips. Well, guess what? This market pushes up to about 24 pips there, and then it comes back down in the next 15 minutes to 9. What some people will be saying, hey, you know what, this is going to bounce back right up. Comes back down and you are now just 2 pips in the money. If you still wait on it, by the time you get to here, you're out of the money. What have I just done? I've made my 2 grand AUD and I've walked away. Most traders that are getting greedy, they get caught. But keep in mind, I looked at this and I said, hey, this is just create a new lower low. So to me, that says the market's possibly now going to push down. See where I'm going with all of this? You need to be able to analyze the market in this way. Price action is just about signs and symbols that you're going to be able to see from your charts that's going to confirm for you that the market is going in a particular direction. There's nothing wrong with using indicators. Just be aware that indicators are lagging, right? So what they're going to do is they possibly will show you a move going in a particular direction, even though the market maker has no intention to go in that direction. So, for example, you see this big green candle here, that might be enough, especially after something like this, where your stochastics probably would have come down and would be bouncing up, and you'd be like, okay, and even MACD, for example, where you're getting a lot of volume being pushed up. Any of your volume indicators, for that matter, would be saying there's a lot of volume in the market's being pushed up. Now, the collection of your indicators might give you now saying this market is going to head up. In actual fact, by the time you get in, many of you might have entered on the wick here. By the time you get in and you expect the market to go this way, it pushes back down again. Count this. This is probably a good number of hours before the market pushes back up again to go in the direction that you wanted it to go in. Now, if you then also set a very tight stop loss, well, guess what? Somewhere around here, the market would have ensured that your stop gets triggered and you're out of there. All right? Please stop jumping from strategy to strategy. Use the present strategies that you have. Apply price action to it. Master it. You don't become a doctor or a world-class surgeon by doing 1 or 2 surgeries on, I don't know, dead people or whatever they practice on, and come out at the end of it saying, hey, you know what, I wasn't able to get to the heart and do whatever I needed to do properly, so I'm going to give up on this. Let me go find another vocation, maybe some other area of surgery or some other area of medicine or something along those lines. You keep practicing. If it takes you 4 years to get your college degree, well, hey, you can't nail this in just maybe a month or 2, okay? I've got years of experience. I was trained as an advisor to do all of these things. I'm still learning. I want you to understand that as well. I am still learning. All of us are still learning, and at the moment that I stop and think, hey, you know what, I know enough, I know too much, that's when I will start losing trades. All right. Last thing that I wanted to mention is a lot of people do contact me and they say, hey, Shiv, I've had great success with this, but for whatever reason I've started losing. I don't know why. Here's the reason why. I can tell you either one, you've changed your method slightly. You've either started adding indicators or whatever else, or you're starting to look at your criteria differently. That can cause wins and losses. The other thing is also you're going to be very much aware of your moods and your own patterns. right? If you're trading at different times, or even if you're trading at the same time, be aware of how you're feeling. If there's something going on, if there's tensions, if you're tired, if you're stressed, all of that can contribute to this. Keep in mind as well, at any given point in time throughout your day, you can have conversations with people or interactions with people, and whatever belief system or changes to your belief systems actually happen. Like, you try something at work and then you say, oh, it's too hard. A simple comment like that, or someone just say, oh, you're not good at this. It doesn't matter if they're referring to someone else or something else. It can actually stick to you. You come back to training, and all of a sudden, where you had winning streaks, you're losing. And you're like, I don't know what's going on. Something's wrong with the strategy. Nothing's wrong with the strategy. The other thing is, you look at it and you say, hey, I always trade this strategy around this particular time. It's not working anymore. You're not always going to have 100% wins based on a time of day. What you're going to have 100% on is when you're seeing signs from the market to say, yes, this is exactly what we're going to do. You need to look for it. People are asking me about doing live webinars. Guys, I have no intentions of doing live webinars simply because I walked away from my corporate job for the sake of my freedom. What I'm trying to instill within all of you guys is the same freedom. This isn't about trading. This isn't about spirituality. This is about freedom from every bit of crap that this world actually offers you. This is about being able to do what it is that you want to do whenever you want to do it. This is about being able to make enough money, because this world, unfortunately, requires us to have money in order to pay our bills, eat food, just live a decent life, or buy a home and do all of that sort of stuff. So in order for us to do that, we need to make money. Hence, this is the solution. The last thing that I want to do is jump back into a 9-to-5 or establish a group and say, hey, I'm going to now take on the responsibility of the group itself. I don't want to do that. No signal services, none of that sort of stuff. And I'm encouraging you guys to step away from that. Many of you are spending more money paying monthly group fees than you are actually making money. I see so many people out there. It was funny on Facebook. I get added by people all the time, and this guy who used to run a group, he's now asking, are there any proper trade copiers out there that actually make money? I had a good laugh about that, because I know this about 6 months ago, this guy actually had a group running. And I do believe he had a trade copier or something along those lines as well. So here's the thing. I don't want you to be reliant. Don't be reliant on me. Don't be reliant on a particular type of strategy. It's a structure that I'm giving you. It's where you're going to use this and say, okay, this is what I'm seeing. These are the sorts of movements. I don't want you I don't want you to be trading this blind. And that's exactly what many of you guys are doing. That's why you do 1 month with this strategy, and then someone says, hey, you know what, on Facebook, I've just put up a bullshit screenshot of 15 trades, and it's been heavily in the money. And then guess what? Hey, he's making money. What am I going to do? I'm going to throw money at this guy now, because what's going to happen? Well, he's going to now set up a group and charge me $50 a month. I'm just going to throw $50 over. You're never going to make money that way. I guarantee you this. And I'm telling you this now. If there are genuine people out there that really know how to trade well, they're not going to set up groups. They never will, because they can make more money trading for themselves than they're going to do with groups. I'm not bagging people with groups out there, because there are some good people out there that are sharing their knowledge, and certainly, yes, for their time, that money, the money that they charge is great. What I am bagging is your reliance on this. Because again, I don't want you to be reliant on a signal service. I don't want you to be reliant on a group of people that are going to encourage you. Take it from my experience, that is just noise. What you want to do is live your life, be able to trade well, a couple of trades a day, trade well, and then walk away from it and then go live your life. You don't want to be on there constantly chasing what other people are doing, because I guarantee you this, any form of trading, 90% is hype. There's always going to be hype on there, right? If you are going to constantly fall victim to that hype, you're never going to be successful. All of this shit is energy. Okay, and take it from me, I do more energy work than I actually do trading stuff now. But all of this stuff is energy. Even a thought, even just bullshit that people, even a screenshot that you see on Facebook, that's energy. I don't show you guys screenshots of my accounts or my trades or me doing live trades around those lines. A couple of reasons. If I do those stuff, I'm going to do small amount trades. I'm not going to do $500 trades, $1,000 trades, or show forex trades where you're making a few $1,000s at a time. One, it's going to stress the shit out of most of you, because this isn't about, you're not in competition with me. All I'm saying to you is, I don't work for a living anymore. I'm 36 years old. I don't need to work. I don't ever plan to hold a corporate job ever again. The whole point here is to say, well, I want to inspire you to be able to live your life in freedom. I'm also saying to you that trading can get you there. So please combine everything that I'm saying. If you're doing the energy clearings and stuff, do that. Create some sort of a visual board, your life. What is it that you want to do? I'm gonna start sharing mantras and things like that, which is energy stuff on the blog. That's gonna help you. But for the time being, I wanted to keep this as short as possible. I talk too much, but guys, cut it out, will you? Do it for yourselves. 1st of May, I'm going to issue a new challenge. For the next 30 days, I want you to find yourself. I want you to find yourself. I want you to establish your goal in relation to trading. I want you to pick just one strategy that you feel comfortable with, right? It doesn't matter if you say, hey, I've been trading it around this period of time, it's no longer working. It all freaking works. It just means that you probably need to change the time of day or play around with that, because the market does what the hell it wants to whenever it wants to. Okay, now I'm going to leave you with, I believe I've shared this one before. Kerry Packer here in Australia was the one of the richest guys, probably back then he was the richest guy in Australia. Now there was a guy here who owns Wizard Home Loans. Now name's changed. But this guy went up to Kerry Packer to seek some advice, and at that point in time, there really weren't any non-bank home loan lenders out there. So this guy went up to Kerry Packer and said, I'd like some advice, because this is what this is what I want to do. Kerry Packer said to him, and I'm going to change the F word around. He asked him a question and said, mate, what do you do with a 5,000-pound gorilla? And this guy's like, I don't know what you do with a 5,000-pound gorilla, or, you feed it bananas or whatever the hell he came up with. Kerry Packer's response was, you leave it the f alone. Okay, you guys know what I'm trying to say. But you leave it the hell alone, because it's a 5,000-pound gorilla. The same rule applies to the market. This is a $5.3 trillion gorilla. When you're entering your trades, you want to bloody make sure that this market is going to go in the direction in which that you want it to go in. So what you do now is you take a strategy and you understand that the market is king. All the strategy is doing is trying to figure out at any given point whether the king is in a good mood or a bad mood. If he's in a good mood, the market goes up. If he's in a bad mood, the market comes down. That's all we're doing. How well you get to know the king's mood is entirely up to you. But if all you're doing is saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to look at the temperature in the room, and that's my strategy. If the temperature is high, he's pissed off. If the temperature is low, he's in a good mood. That's something along those lines. That's your strategy. Well, that's a load of crap. What you've got to start doing is to say, okay, I'm going to get used to what the personality of this king is and what things actually affect him. So what will trigger him off? What are his buttons? What's going to make him jump for joy or go nuts on someone? That is price action. That's what we're starting to master now. And I can tell you this, doesn't matter how many years I do this for, I'm still mastering it. We all are. We only trade that which is familiar to us. That's one. It's like, when you're learning to ride a bike. You don't just jump on that bike and you start riding and you're an expert straight away. You become familiar with how it works. Same with swimming, same with everything else that you're ever going to do in life. Same with, for those of you that play guitar. You become familiar with it first. What you're doing, your time in front of your charts right now, is you becoming familiar with it. So you trade only that which is familiar. It may challenge, get to know yourself really well, set yourself goals, come up with some sort of visual in terms of how you want your life to be, figure out what you want out of your trades, know some sort of monetary goal that you'd like to hit, pick one strategy, get to know that really well, break it apart. I've said this so many times, break it apart, make it your own. It's no longer Shiva's strategy or Joe Blow's strategy out there. This is your strategy. It's your life. This is your trading game. How much money you make is dependent on you. It's not dependent on Shiva. Okay? Down the track, towards the end of the year, when I decide to go ahead and create my trade copier, the whole point behind the trade copier will simply be that I'm just trading my own account. And whenever I trade it, it will get replicated onto your one. Right now, I'm not ready for it because then that would mean I'm going to have to give up a large portion of my freedom. I don't want to give up a large portion of my freedom. What I do want to do is to be able to help some of you guys out. And so whatever knowledge I'm sharing right now is to help you to become better traders and go live an amazing life. That's what this is about. This isn't about reliance on me. This isn't about reliance on signals. This is not about reliance on a group and peers. This is just about that. Okay? We good? All right, guys. Stay healthy, stay blessed. Go make a crap load of money. And that's it. Enjoy the month of May.